Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Campfire Stories. Of course, I am your host, Doc X, the voice. Demand Chef, the chef,
Hi.
Chef Demand is also here
Oh,
as
it's
well.
my
Well, I like that
position.
better than the Chef Demand. Chef Demand, it sounds way better.
Well, that was on my jacket.
It was on your jacket. Chef Demand and Doc X, the voice. That's what it is from now on until perpetuity. But we also have another addition with us. Say hello, Kiwi.
Oh, what's up?
We got Kiwi with us. She's going to be absolutely insanely useful for for this edition of Campfire Stories. We have multiple stories, things, happenings, goings on, etc. that have to deal with New Zealand. And it just so happens, if you can't tell by her accent, Kiwi may or may not be a native New Zealander. That is unconfirmed. She can confirm that for us right now if she would like to.
I can confirm, native New Zealander.
Hell yeah. What's going on, Suji? Good to see you. Native New Zealander Kiwi with us. I'm looking forward to this one. Kiwi is obviously in geological studies, if you want to tell everybody what it is you do yet again, if for those of you who don't know what you typically study and enjoy.
So I am environmental science, studying geology, also doing a double major in biology and GIS geospatial technologies, which is basically making maps. And what I like to do is look at rocks.
Sounds like a lot of smart person stuff, Kiwi.
Yep.
Jaman and I don't like that. That's frightening. We're frightened
it
at smart
gets-
people stuff.
Gets a lot of fun when you get into the space rocks.
I like
Oh
rocks.
my god. Well, you've piqued Demand's interest. He enjoys rocks.
I like rocks.
Throwing them, eating them, you name it.
Rocks.
He's all about it. Rock sandwich is not a thing here on our show. It's
But-
not a thing. It
I
will
mean,
never be
it
a thing.
could be.
Rock sandwich.
There's not rock sandwich is not a thing, dude. Like,
But
So,
are
so
you
let
the one?
me just clear something up real quick for you, Doc.
yeah.
A
Please.
huge part of what I do is licking rocks.
No. Wait a minute. What
Rock
do you mean
sandwich.
licking rocks? That doesn't make any sense.
You can tell a lot about a rock from licking it, okay?
Rock sandwich.
I
I like licking
lizard.
rocks too.
bet you do. A rock sandwich is not a thing. I can't believe. Wow. So do you actually lick rocks, like, for real? Is that a
Yes,
legitimate
there is
thing?
actually a reason behind it though. If it's you
No
get
way.
halite, which is a rock salt, obviously it's gonna it's gonna taste like salt. So that
Salt.
takes a lot of the guesswork out. Then you get if you want to tell how much clay is in a rock, you can actually like rub it against your teeth, and how smooth it is determines how much clay is in it.
Duh, clay.
Oh my god. So can you actually put a rock between two slices of bread and create a rock sandwich? Is what you're telling me? It's a potential.
It would be highly not recommended, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't see why not.
Rock sandwich.
Oh, you've made Demand a very, very happy weirdo.
I
Very,
like
very
rocks.
happy weirdo. I know you do. It's actually crazy. I didn't know geologists actually licked rocks. That's hilarious.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
is absolutely
I'm a
hilarious.
geologist.
Have you ever licked a rock? Yeah, you are. Have you ever licked a rock and that tasted good?
No,
Okay.
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 no. It either tastes like salt or it tastes like dirt.
Salt
you-
or dirt. So yeah.
Can you take the salt from the rock and cook a dish from it?
Yeah. I mean, halite is literally rock salt.
I could do a rock salt dish.
Could you make a rock salt sandwich, Demand, that we could actually put on our cooking channel?
Like a grilled cheese rock salt sandwich?
Yeah, we'll call it a rock sandwich, but yes, some sort of like we'll have to finagle a little bit with the title. But like, can you make like a rock sandwich? I think that's possible. With Kiwi's help, we can figure out exactly how to do it authentically as possible. And that would be hilarious. That would be fantastic. Perhaps even viral. But welcome, everyone. You know, we're going to be talking about a lot of rock sandwiches here. Welcome again to, ladies and gentlemen, Campfire Stories. We got Kiwi with us. This is the Dr. Demand show. I am Dr. Voice Demand. Chef Demand is also here, of course. And the first story today, we're going to let Kiwi take the helm, but basically she wants to she's here to talk about she's here to talk about asteroids.
Oh, rock. Big rock.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Big
Yeah,
rock.
right?
Big space.
What do y'all
rock.
know? Big space rock sandwich potentially impacting our planet, as has happened arguably millions and millions of times before. Now here's my question. Do scientists, Kiwi, have any idea? And again, you know, I don't expect you to have an answer off the top of your head, but just to your general knowledge, do they know how many major impacts the asteroids have made on the planet? Is there any idea? I'm sure you
Well,
probably
to give you a bit of an idea on that.
yeah.
So a 3-foot asteroid, right? Which is it's not huge, but it's pretty decent sized.
It's
One of
half.
those hits the Earth every 2 weeks.
So I believe the average height of a man in North America is around 6 feet tall. So you're telling me that half a man's worth of rock asteroids slams into our planet every how often?
2 weeks. And
So
to answer Middle Gear Greed, yes, hits, not burns up in the atmosphere.
So
Slams into the planet surface or most likely the ocean, right? Considering there's more water here.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's why we don't see them everywhere, because most of them end up in the ocean. Best place to find them, though, is Antarctica, because you can see them against the ice.
Oh, interesting. Do you think that contributes to global warming? You know, heating up the waters?
Not really.
Asteroid impacts.
Now, if an asteroid impacts, hits my backyard, can I cook an egg off of it?
You could try. There is nothing stopping you from trying.
Would it be hot enough to cook an egg? And how long would it be hot for?
No, that's a really
I
good
don't
question.
know. I wish I
That's
could
a
tell you.
real-
That video would
Well,
go
I mean-
viral.
That video would go. Can you imagine if you made a rock sandwich or a fried egg rock sandwich out of an asteroid or a meteor? That shit would be
and
so
just cooked
awesome.
it the whole time on the asteroid itself.
And first of all, it would have to be big enough, right? So it's it would have to be big enough that it didn't impact in the ground and get buried. I would think, but then also that it wasn't like a pebble. You know what I mean? Because I feel like a lot of like Huey said, so it's every 2 weeks, a freaking small dwarf sized asteroid slams into the planet, right? Approximately every 2 weeks, more or less. You know what I'm saying? It would have to be big enough that you could do it, but it also have to be in a place where you could do it. It would be
Right.
the
You'd
biggest
have to
opportunity.
be there when it landed.
Right. Because I'm pretty sure, once it impacts into the ground, it probably cools off fairly quickly. I don't know if it would maintain the temperature to cook. I don't know what temperature it takes to cook an egg, but I'd imagine it wouldn't happen. You'd have to do it right immediately for it to work.
Yeah,
And
because
then-
if it's lower temperature, the proteins, it'll turn the egg will turn gummy and runny because the proteins won't heat up high enough.
What? Okay, here's my question too. Do you offhanded? Do you know what percentage? What is the percentage of minerals and things in most space rocks? Do you have any clue what they're made of? Being a geologist, I'm gonna look it up anyways. But
Actually, yes. There are 3 types of meteorites that we typically see.
yeah,
One of them is a stony meteorite, which is most often made of silicate materials, and it's got small metal grains in it.
silicate.
Yeah, so these are actually really cool because they can have chondrules in them, which are tiny, tiny spherical particles that actually come from like early solar system formation. So they're really, really old.
What the? And they're just
Some of them
soaring
don't.
around this.
Yeah, they're just cruising. They're chilling.
Yeah.
Some of them are iron meteorites, which is iron and nickel. And these are usually like when planets break up, their metallic core turns into meteorites and asteroids and stuff. So that's kind of where they come from. And then you get stony iron, which is silicate and metal.
Oh, okay. So that's kind of coinciding with what I just looked up to on Google too. Like I think M type, C type, and iron meteorites.
Yeah,
And
I
they're
think it's
basically
S-type.
different. Yeah, obviously I think there's one called Psyche. What is this? This is a metal-rich asteroid is believed to be made up of iron, nickel, gold, and other metals. NASA's planning to study Psyche at
Psyche, I
close
think that one
range
is.
with a spacecraft. So there's just all kind of minerals. Like,
Oh
to
yeah,
your
if
knowledge,
we could figure out how to extract these from asteroids, gold would just become completely irrelevant. Diamonds wouldn't be worth anything.
Can we just drill a hole in them and start like sucking?
Well, here's the thing with that. Bennu is an asteroid that we actually went to recently, and
Bennu.
you know everybody was like, "Oh, it's going to be solid. We're going to be able to basically boop this asteroid, and
Boop
we're
it.
going to be able, yeah, just boop it." Like they literally, the whole point of that was they sent a spacecraft up there to go and boop this asteroid to collect
Ooh.
asteroid dust, so that they could bring it back and see what it was about. But when they looked at
Okay.
it, it looked like it was solid, but the problem is that when they booped it, it wasn't at all. It almost was bad enough that it could have caused the mission to be a complete failure because
Like it was
this
soft?
asteroid, yeah, it was soft. The whole spacecraft almost sunk into the center of this asteroid because it was so soft.
What was it? What was it composed like? I guess soft metals or
Sometimes I know there's like a lot of ice
Yes.
like on the asteroids too. Like they're like covered in ice.
Yes.
Like a lot of times.
Yes, there is a lot more ice than people actually think there is out in space.
Yeah, so a lot of these are like big gigantic icicle rocks like flying through the outer space.
okay.
Obviously you don't get any of that when they burn up in the atmosphere of our planet, but you know, or a planet. But yeah, like there's a lot of ice all over them. Which is one thing is like you have to like if you're gonna mine an asteroid, like you'd have to drill through the ice first in a lot of cases, right? So diamonds are already worthless. Yeah, I agree with that. We'll talk about that another time. The diamond conspiracy conversation is coming. Don't worry, ladies, who I know
That is a fun one.
who I know are your best friends. Yeah, we'll bring Kiwi back on again for that one. That
Also,
was going to be
Just
really good.
real quick,
Yeah,
metal, I think it's something like 86% of them come from the asteroid belt.
right. Like 80%
Of what we see that I guess hits Earth. So most of them come from the asteroid belt from like within our solar system.
which is awesome. Which is absolutely awesome. Space rocks, baby.
Now, Kiwi,
So,
Yes,
I have a question for you.
I may have an answer for you.
So, at what point in time does the asteroid when does it take to detect like an Earth-ending asteroid heading towards us?
Okay, so this is fun. This is great. I love this. So you know there was one that like came in over the Philippines on I think it was the 4th, right? Just a couple of days ago. That
It was a
the
couple of days
9th?
ago?
Well, it was the 4th, so it was 9 days ago.
so September the 4th.
Yes.
Okay.
That was the 9th one we have ever seen before it hit Earth.
What?
We have so of all of the impacts we've ever had on this planet, we have only been able to detect 9.
We're
before
not
they
even
hit Earth.
We're not even in the top 10 of being able to detect the asteroids before they hit.
Nope. And what makes this even more fun, so there's some that we're tracking, right? We know where they are, we know what they're doing, we have a rough idea as to when they're going to be a problem. That's great. The way we detect them is we follow the light that reflects off them through the sky, right? So as it moves, we see the light moving and we can track it.
So if there's no light, say it's like lurking behind Neptune, just rubbing
not
its
even
hands
necessarily that. But what if it's heading straight for us?
Would we not see
and there
it?
is no movement? We wouldn't see the light shifting across the sky.
So you're telling me, Demand, let me show you. You're watching the stream. Demand, this is literally the technology Earth is using to detect the asteroids. It's just a guy on 32 cups of coffee with his eyes like pinned open, hoping that he sees a glint of something before the asteroid slams into the Earth.
So how big
And
does the
blows
asteroid
us
have
away.
to be to cause catastrophic damage, to end the world?
Wait a minute.
Okay.
I bet it. I started to say, hold up, but before we even get to that, I mean, yeah, you can answer Kiwi, but like, I mean, even if you were talking about an asteroid that's not world-ending necessarily, Demand, like, what about an asteroid that's just like gonna just wreck everything? Like, we don't all die, but it just sends us into the dark ages, like solar technology. You know, like 10 years of like ash in the sky. Like, you
Wouldn't
wouldn't
that kill
even
us?
need. I mean, yeah,
The
that's
planet
my
would
point.
superheat up to like 500 Celsius.
So what I assumed you meant, you can correct me, is like an asteroid that just like slams into the planet and just like blows the Earth up, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, all right, I'll let Kiwi answer it. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
planet cracker.
So, I don't know how big a planet crack is going to have to be,
Mhm.
but you know the giant asteroid took out the dinosaurs. You know,
The one in Gulf of
world-shaking,
Mexico?
life-changing event. Yeah, the one in Gulf of Mexico.
Mhm,
Do you know how big
Yes.
that was?
I don't know, size of Texas.
Size of Texas?
Yeah.
6 miles wide.
Is that before or after cook time in the atmosphere?
I'm gonna say that's after cook time.
All right,
I'm gonna
all
say
right.
that the asteroid was well seasoned and seared to perfection before it
Mm.
slammed into the ocean. Like,
It hit right on one of the peninsulas off of Mexico. And with that, so 6 mile wide asteroid, right? The crater that it formed was over 90 miles wide.
I don't like it. I don't like it, man.
But now it's based on velocity, right? What if that thing was like cruising fast? What if you get a slow burner, one that goes like, you know, like old grandpa, like driving Miss Daisy? Would that still do as much damage?
I see what you're saying, but I don't know if that would happen due to gravity.
Oh, that's right. So just pull it in no matter what. You'd reach
Yeah.
max velocity no matter what.
Once
Okay.
it got terminal asteroid velocity.
Yeah, so
you,
with... Oh, sorry, Karen.
no, please continue.
I was going to say, with that one more recently, that was quite damaging as well, was 2013 over Russia.
And
That was...
what part of Russia, Kiwi? I just want to. Kiwi, where did that asteroid? Like, what part of Russia was it over? Like,
Now, my Russian is not great, so I'm going to butcher this, but I think it's Chelyabinsk.
What did you just call me?
You heard me.
You insulted the man. You already insulted
Jar
the
Jar
man
Binks?
in multiple.
I think it's like Chelyabinsk.
Yeah, Chelyabinsk. Yeah.
I'm gonna give mine. Okay, here's my like Kiwi and I were in DMs way before this. We were laughing about what this was, so I just put her on the spot to try to destroy her.
I know that's
probably pretty
exactly
good.
what you did.
Yeah, I think she's probably pretty much dead on. I'd say yeah, Chelyabinsk, Chelyabinsk, Binsk, Binks, Chelyabinsk. That's got to be wrong, dude. That has got to be wrong. That's horrible, man. Man, what do you think is the most basic dish after a chef can cook that shows the most about their skill? Excuse me. Wait, Jacques Pepin? Scrambled
Keeping his
eggs?
dick. Yeah, scrambled eggs,
Respect,
dude.
respect.
People mess up scrambled eggs all the time. All the time.
Yeah. All I'm saying is you couldn't cook a scrambled egg on the Chelyabinsk meteor. 'Cause that sucker exploded in midair, dude. Man, we actually have footage of that, believe it or not.
We do.
Believe it or not.
I'm gonna pull it up real quick for everyone to look at.
You guys are gonna enjoy this. So Kiwi, you gonna go ahead and explain? I don't know if he has any sound to this or not, but hold your ears.
I do not have
My favorite. I just want to say before Kiwi explains exactly what this incident was. This is obviously a meteor burning up in the atmosphere over a medium-sized to small town in Russia. And dude, one of my favorite scenes in this video is like there's a guy playing hard bass. I'll put it in Discord if you guys want to watch it. There's like there's a guy driving down the street. For some reason, all the Russians have dash cams. I have no idea why, but he's literally hard bass, like bumping, and then you just hear like an explosion that like is almost deafening. So Kiwi, yeah, go ahead. What is this incident? What are we looking at? What in the absolute hell is going on here?
So this was, yeah, obviously over Russia. This
Yes.
one was only, I think it was about 60 feet wide, but it entered the atmosphere at more than 40,000 miles an hour.
1,000. That's fast.
40,000. That is quick. And people were saying that it was so bright, it looked like a second sun.
Ooh.
Look at this, dude. Look how bright it is, like when the thing freaking suddenly like explodes like over it's so bright, man.
Did that cause blindness?
You can see if you look directly at it, it probably could damage your eyesight. Absolutely. I mean, you can't stare at the sun for the same reason.
I used to look at the sun all the time when I was younger.
Now, Demand, you're not supposed to do that.
Dude, I used to look at the, every time I would go to school, I'd look at the sun, hoping I'd blind myself so I didn't have to learn anything.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, rock sandwiches in the chat. Although we'd have a meme for that.
we need to put rock sandwiches.
If you're an idiot, that's going to be our memes. Rock sandwich for you, sir. So for those who are interested, this happened in February 15th, 2013. The Chelyabinsk meteorite airburst, exploded over this town. And the effects, Kiwi.
So a lot of glass was broken. A lot of windows shattered.
Other than Demand losing his eyesight, glass.
Yeah, Demand lost his eyesight. A lot of the buildings were shaken, and there were over 1,000 people who were injured by the shock wave.
The shock wave? What kind of injuries are we talking about?
I don't know what injuries they are. I just know that there were over 1,000 people who were hurt.
I don't know if it shows in this video, Demand. I had to cut it for time and for distribution purposes. But I could tell you there are people that fell because of the blast. In this video.
Likely.
Yeah, I can link the actual full video. So there were people that fell, that got bruises, they probably broke arms because the blast was so impactful. Either it scared them or the shockwave from it, sort of knocked them over or whatever the case may have been. So
I can imagine there would have been a lot of glass injuries as well, especially if you were under, walking past a taller building.
Exactly.
Okay.
I linked it in chat, and I will for the podcast and everybody else. I'll include the full video, not the clip you're just watching here. Of this is sort of like a compilation of dash cam videos, but also yeah, just all kinds of just random security footage, CCTV, and the like of people just falling, crack like windows exploding, and it's loud. Like it'll hurt your ears. Like you just imagine, like you see something pass like over the sky. It's this bright flash, and obviously sound travels like slower than light. So you see the flash, but it's not, until sometimes up to like 5 to 10 seconds before the explosion like hits the area where you are, and then suddenly your car windows are blowing out. So yeah, I imagine a lot of people fell because of just the fear. You see people flipping backwards in offices and stuff. Like it's pretty horrific.
I mean, if you didn't know what was
Nonetheless.
going on, you'd think that was like a world-ending, what's happening kind of event.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like, yeah, that it was delayed. And it was so, like, you see that flash, that was the explosion. Like, it ignited and blew up. So that's what you're watching in video. But the audio, I don't know if it's playing on the stream, is like deafening. You could see people's video cams and dash cams shaking from the shockwave and the impact
Mm.
of the sound as it exploded. And how big did you say this thing was?
60 feet.
60 feet.
So half the size of the man.
Just talking about my penis.
No, damn it. No, damn it. All right, so it was only 60 feet and it caused widespread damage
Yep.
all over the place.
And the super
Like,
fun thing about that is that was another one we only detected moments before it entered the atmosphere.
ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
So, Kiwi, you have a 6-mile long asteroid, right? Or comet, or however you want to say it. What if we flew a rocket up into space and landed on it? Could we land on something going that fast?
Yes. Well, if it was in space, yes. Going through the atmosphere, no.
Okay.
Yeah, so it has to we'd
It
have
has
to
to be in
get it
space.
before we'd have to say, could we take a large drill and implant like a nuclear device to blow up the asteroid, or before it reached the planet?
You could, but that's not actually necessary.
Oh, it's not.
No.
You don't need nukes.
No.
Mm.
They actually. There's a spacecraft named DART, which is the Double Asteroid Redirection Test, which the whole purpose of this was to see if we could shift the direction of an asteroid or meteor, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they went up into space, got to the one that they were looking at, nudged it, and they actually managed to alter the direction that it was traveling in.
Okay.
I need everybody right now. If you have access to Google, type in Dart mission and see what happens in Google. DART space mission MISSION.
Okay, I
If you
actually
get a
have to do
chance,
this
then
too.
you gotta do it. You gotta do it, man.
Oh, that's
This is
awesome.
So there's a satellite that slams into the Google page and it tilts it to the right. For those of you who don't have access or can't do it right now, I don't know why that anyways, I thought that was cool. So they just slammed this satellite to see if they could redirect
Yes.
and knock it off a potentially deadly collision course.
Yes. Now, there is one problem with this.
Okay.
Okay.
We have to know they're there before we can do it.
All right. So, Kiwi, hypothetically speaking, we don't know, and it's like T-minus 7 hours to touchdown, right? Could we take a group of astronauts, all trained in their respective fields, and get up into space and maybe drill a hole in there and maybe detonate a nuke?
Now, there would be again, you could, but that would be assuming we have something ready to go now, as far as a spacecraft goes, because that's not exactly something that you can, just go, oh yeah, cool, 2 o'clock this afternoon. This is the plan that requires planning. And the other problem is this is actually something that they found with the DART mission. When you hit something like that, or when you blow something like that up, you're gonna have a lot of debris.
That was my. Go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt. Yes, please continue.
You might stop the big one, but who's to say that now you don't create hundreds of smaller ones that are going to cause just as much, if not more, damage over a greater area?
Right. So you basically turn a big, gigantic, fat boy into like a shotgun, like spread of a whole bunch of like smaller meteorites, right?
Pretty much.
That'll slam all over the place.
Yeah. So from the DART mission, they're actually expecting debris to hit both Earth and Mars, even though this wasn't on a collision course with Earth or Mars. The debris that they knocked off is going to hit both planets for, I think they were saying, up to like 100 years.
Okay, well, what if the lead space pilot guy just does not feel confident in his skills?
All right, man.
I can feel the cogs moving in your brain, Demar.
He's just talking about the plot to Armageddon. Let's get the joke out of the way. It's old. Yeah. Everyone's like everyone in chat is like trying to move past it and ask legitimate questions. Basically, Silly made a one punch joke, man. One punch man joke. Like, dude, so Armageddon isn't something that is feasible. That's what you're trying to say. Let's get this out of the way. Like, it's not something that we could actually do, or it would be even feasible. Because, like you said, if we did blow the asteroid up, we would have to be in an area that would send it off, and the debris would be like minimal, right?
Yeah. Because otherwise, if you have like a 40-mile wide one hitting to Earth and you explode it, and now you've got, like 200 2-mile wide fragments from it. That's going to cause a lot of damage.
Yeah, we're still dead, basically. Yeah. We're at the Stone Age, we're scratching our ass with sticks again. Demand and I are fine, because that's how... Yeah, Demand and I are fine. That's how we generally live right now. We're eating rock sandwiches. We're nothing changes for Demand and I. This is generally how we live already. But for the rest of humanity, it's the end. It's the end of civilization as we know it. And from what I understand that you're saying, it wouldn't even take that much necessarily to send us back to that Stone Age mass extinction event. Did you say it was 6 miles?
6 miles.
They basically wiped out a good portion of the dinosaurs. I believe there's a 99% extinction event. I know that scientists no longer want to attribute the entire entire multiple extinction event to a simple asteroid, but it had to have done insurmountable, incalculable amount of damage to the Earth. And yeah,
here's the thing with that. If it was just the impact, probably would have been okay. Would have sucked, but probably would have been okay. But the shock waves, the fact that it threw up huge amounts of dust and dirt and rocks and everything into the air. No sunlight could get through to the ground. Plants died. When the plants died, the herbivores have nothing to eat, so then they die out. So then the carnivores have nothing to eat, so then they die out. So it's just kind of, it's a really bad domino effect.
I see what you're saying. Well, we can go over this another time too, because there are some events that coincide with asteroids, as well as volcanic events too, that have altered the course of the world's um climate, for the lack
Yes.
of a better term, that have drastically affected and will again, no doubt, in our history. Those events are not done. It's just a matter of time of, and
Hmm.
I think that's what you're saying too, right? To sort of put a cherry on the top, like it's only a matter of time before one of these events like does again yet affect the course of the history of the planet, because I mean we're in a solar system, galaxy, a universe with multiple um factors that we can't calculate, right? Random shards of rocks and ice and solar flares and all these cosmic events that we're susceptible to. And you know what? I think, I want to get y'all's feelings on this before, we move forward, but I feel like it's not well talked about because human beings in general are just scared. We're scared to talk about the things we can't control, right? Like a massive solar flare could obliterate the majority of the satellites, if not all of them, in an instant, and it could happen at any time, and there's nothing we can do about that. And that's kind of event is that what I just said is only one of many, 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 many other events that are just sort of out of our control. And as you stated, there's a guy who's on 37 cups of coffee trying to look for asteroids that he can find, and he's tired and he's overworked and he ain't getting paid shit. And he's trying to see, or they're trying to find these. And I
Yep.
mean, maybe AI can help, but I mean, as you said, if you can't see it, you can't see it. It
Yeah.
comes at a blind spot.
And a lot
So,
of the time, it's amateur astronomers that find this stuff. They're just dudes with a telescope.
oh
I have a
no.
telescope.
Well, that sounds bad, but at the same time, like, is it not the fact that that someone may have a different angle than where your observatories are set up? Shouldn't we have like a Tony Stark blanket or an Elon Musk style blanket of observatories all over the planet looking in every direction? Like, wouldn't that behoove us? Why don't we have that? Why isn't that being funded, QE?
It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money to do
It's
that.
a
And there's also the practicality purpose. Like the atmosphere actually affects what we can see through them. So you kind of want to put them on top of mountains. And let's be real, Texas doesn't have mountains. So if you were going to put one here, where would you put it?
I feel
Right.
Texas could just make their own
True.
mountain. You know, that sounds like
Texas
the
can,
American
dude.
way.
It
Make their own
does.
mountain.
Texas will literally
Please
build their own mountain.
do not give them any ideas.
I'll show you Mount Everest ain't nothing. Texas is better than bigger than everybody. We're gonna make our own Mount Everest for blackjack and hookers.
I like that idea. I actually like that idea a lot. Texas, make your own mountain so we can
Yep.
put an observatory on the top. That is
It's
amazing,
and the
man.
observatory is gonna be attached to a steakhouse.
It would have to be.
A Longhorn Texas steakhouse, baby. Final thoughts on this one. We're gonna move on it momentarily. Final thoughts on this particular story.
Just
Yeah,
one
what-
more
I
thing I
want-
want to say.
Okay. Oh, before you do that, I'm gonna let Demand go because we need it not to end on a rock sandwich eating conversation. So, Demand, what do you feel? What are you feeling about this? Any questions, concerns, comments? I've stated my case. It's over. It's over. We're crazy, dude. We ain't spending no money on this. People in the comment section admitted it. They're like, dude, we're fighting wars. Meanwhile, there are world-ending asteroids zipping past us daily, weekly. Demand.
I'm be honest with you, brother. I don't know what you want from me. I'm just a dude out at like if scientists can't see it, listen. What am I gonna do? Punch the meteor back? Like, am I gonna get into a rocket ship and think about my ex-wife and fly up into the space and drill a hole and nuke it? No. Like Bruce Willis has nothing. Like I just...
You can't say this. All right, Kiwi. All right. What do you got to say about this one?
There's one more thing I'm gonna throw in the end here, just to really,
Please
yeah.
do. We're doomed. I'm fine with that.
So
We're doomed.
the moon, 239,000 miles away from Earth, right?
Right.
Yes.
2029, the year 2029, we're expecting a 1,100 foot asteroid to pass, hopefully, 19,000 miles away. That's closer than satellites.
So
That's closer than some satellites, I should say.
do they expect any kind of like adverse effects to happen to us? Like, is it just gonna zip past us? Hopefully, we're crossing our fingers that somebody didn't forget to carry the one in this calculation.
You see, if they forgot to carry the one, then we might be in trouble. But here's the thing, if that one doesn't hit us, it has another chance in 2065, 2068, 2076, 2077, 2078, and so on until it probably will eventually hit us.
And
Mm.
Can we go and drill a hole into it and blow it
No.
up?
See. Here's the thing, Demand. You don't have to do that because there was this guy, right? Billy Meyer. He was contacted by aliens.
Oh. Is that how Scientology was formed?
No. This guy was contacted by aliens, and he was told that he was given the answer to how to fix this problem.
Okay. Lay it on me.
I don't think you're ready for this.
I'm ready for
I'll
this.
trust you.
I'm ready for this. I need this. What's the solution to this?
The solution, and I quote, "A global effort is the preferred means, especially for this venture. Maybe we can't get along with everything else, but it's not outside of the capabilities of NASA and perhaps the Russians to act unilaterally and do the best thing."
What'd
The
be best
aliens
thing?
told him we needed to work together.
But what was the best thing? Like they didn't
That
do
was
the
it.
best thing. What was the best
I
thing?
mean, let me just cut you off, man.
With,
That was
with the power of friendship, we will beat this asteroid.
Okay, is that before or after we become like small stains in the planet?
it's literally we're supposed to pull up on our shirts, demand, and your hairy Care Bear stare is going to blast the asteroid off of course and save the universe. Yes, let's load this guy. Thank you, Billy. Really appreciate you, dude. Thanks, dude.
Super helpful.
Dadgummit, we're screwed. But at
Yeah.
least we got until if we survive this next one, right?
We got
How
a
long
good
do we have?
couple of years.
2029, and then the next is 2060. Man, I'll be gone by then, right, Demand? Like, we'll be out of here, most likely. It'll be fine.
2029, and we both might be out of here.
Hey, that's
It's
all I'm
only
saying.
5 years away.
Yeah.
God, dude. And everybody's worried about the election. Who's gonna win the election, bro? There's like a devastating. If this asteroid hits, is this the end? Like, is the planet just gonna like explode? Like,
The planet won't explode, but it will not be how we know it.
it's over. So I'd say it's over, basically. Like for as world as we know it.
I
So
think
everybody
what would end it more would be the chaos of what happens when society collapses due to the fact that all of our infrastructure is now useless.
Yeah.
Mm, okay,
There's
okay.
ash in the atmosphere. Satellites are worthless. The internet's destroyed,
Well, thankfully.
and we're literally just eating rock sandwiches.
Exactly. I'm a chef, baby. My profession is needed in the apocalypse.
It has begun. 2029. Don't forget, we'll revisit this. Campfire Stories coming close, because I'm sure it'll be in the news without a shadow of a doubt.
Oh, you'll hear a
So-
lot about it.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Campfire Stories. My name is Doc X, the voice, Chef Demand here. Also, Nomad Kiwi, aka Kiwi, also hanging out with us. We got more stories coming up. That is the first of many. And I'm not gonna lie, Kiwi inspired the next set of stories
Mm-hmm.
that we're going to be talking about. They're all from in and around New Zealand. I cannot wait.
New Zealand is a wild place.
New Zealand is a wild place, man. Like if you've ever watched Lord of the Rings, I believe the majority of it was filmed there. And
Yes.
for the outdoor scenery, it actually looks like another planet. It really legitimately does. Kiwi, can you explain why in the world does it look like that? Like, what is the deal? Maybe even geologically, why does New Zealand look like another world when it comes to the mountains that exist there and the plains and like the cliffs near the ocean and all that nonsense? Like, why? How did New Zealand end up like that?
So, really quick TLDR version, because there's a lot that goes into it.
Hmm.
Um, it's got a lot to do with the fact that it's right on the Ring of Fire, and it's got a lot of faults running through it, and there is a lot of, like, I guess, tectonic movement, which is forming the mountains. And
Right. So it
Okay.
just sort of came up out of the ocean. And obviously, I hate to do this. I've got to do it for those people that don't know the difference between Australia and New Zealand. They are not the same place. Like, can you please give the kindergarten version for the people who drool into a cup and watch our podcast or listen to our podcast? The difference between New Zealand and Australia and the people, right fast before we get into the first story.
okay, New Zealand, close to Australia, not the same country.
An
Okay.
island, right? If I'm
It's
not
it's an
mistaken.
it's an
Or
island, kind of southeast-ish of Australia.
okay. Right.
Everything in Australia wants to kill you. If it's not the fire tornadoes, it's the spiders or the snakes or the birds that want to spread the fires. New Zealand is lovely and everything is fantastic and just wants to give you hugs.
Okay.
It just New Zealand just wants to hug and kiss. Australia wants you to die in a horrible, horrible fiery chasm. That's what I am to understand.
Uh, yes. Also, what Eternity said, one was a British prison and the other was a British vacation spot.
Okay. Okay. I thought
Okay.
I
Okay.
thought when the aliens land in Antarctica, New Zealand was kind of like the shield for Australia, you know?
Now, you're not supposed
Yeah.
to talk about that, Demand.
Also, technically, New Zealand is Australia's comma.
Let's go ahead and start this again. Okay, first of all, for those of you watching, like we do this as a podcast format. There's going to be multiple of these. We have the first one that was our asteroid conversation. We're moving into the second. The next we have three different for y'all in chat, three different um stories from New Zealand. So we're gonna go over each and every one of those. This will be 2 episodes. If you follow our or subscribe to our YouTube channel, which you should, our brand new YouTube channel, Campfire Stories. We've got we've developed a really good short coming out really soon. So
I'm
that's going to
so
be sort of a
excited
commercial.
for it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not. Kiwi was involved. I'm not going to say anything more than that. But for this next week, we got a really good, cool short coming out. Sort of an advertisement for the Campfire Stories. So subscribe to that YouTube channel if you have it for versions of this podcast, as well as tailored and created shorts specifically for that, stories you may or may not hear us talk about, because honestly there's too much weirdness in the world and the universe for us to just discuss. Also governmental conspiracies, things of that nature. So subscribe to that channel if you haven't already, so that you can get in on that. So that is one of the reasons that I will constantly give the, I guess, beginning announcements, because when Demand goes back and edits this as a raw podcast, it has to make sense. You know, people may have not seen the last episode with the meteors, but maybe they watched this one, so we have to start them all off originally, so I just wanted to say that. So in case y'all are like, bro, you've literally introduced yourselves 9 times. That's the reason. The rest of this stuff's gonna go potentially on Patreon. If you ask good questions, I also want to apologize if we don't get to your comments, questions. That's the reason. Doesn't make any sense on an audio podcast necessarily to answer
Second time's a charm,
every
Kiwi.
single question.
Spelling is hard, okay?
To answer every single question. So right now we're gonna give a chance for y'all to ask questions before we go to our next segment. If you want to say something, we're gonna put this probably on our Patreon. So those who subscribe and support us there can enjoy the deep questions. If y'all have any questions, comments for Kiwi, geologist, astronomer, etc., all of her abilities, you can ask those right now. You can ask Dr. Mand, obviously, anything you want to. Here, just for a couple of minutes before we get started on the next section. Demand eats rocks. You know, I lick them. I'm Kiwi's
Shenush.
official rock taste tester.
Ooh, that's an
Very
official
important
job.
position.
An assassin trusted. Metal Gear Greed wants to know how Kiwi you got into your line of work.
Started licking rocks.
So that's actually a little bit of a weird situation. When I was in New Zealand, I was actually an electrician. And moved over here to Texas. You cannot pay me enough to get into a roof space when it's 113 degrees outside. That's not happening. So I decided, growing up in New Zealand, you've got rocks and glaciers and mountains and everything all around you. So you just kind of see it every day. Always been interested in rocks. So I figured when I came over here and it was time for a career change, I might as well combine rocks and space, 2 things I really love, and just kind of fell into it.
Okay. That's a good question. I like rocks. I'm an amateur rock enthusiast, some might say. There was a rock that Kiwi actually sent me in DMs, and it looked very soft and fuzzy. Now, when you lick a fuzzy rock, does it feel fuzzy?
All right. We're about to move on.
It's a good question. It looked fuzzy, Doc.
I mean, did
looks
it have
fuzzy,
moss on it?
But it doesn't feel fuzzy. It feels, you know how you get like the walls that have that really weird texture on them that looks like it was just stamped on by a broom
Yeah.
or a mop?
Yeah.
It kind of feels like that,
Oh, like
but
a
on a
popcorn
smaller
ceiling.
scale. Yeah.
Wow, that would hurt
We
my
have peop-
tongue.
Yeah.
We have people in chat that are obviously interested in rocks. We have people that that really are that do enjoy geology, and I mean I think that it's a fascinating topic, more so than people realize because of where rocks actually come from. We always obviously think, they are terrestrial and from the ground or the center of the earth, hardened from magma, but not always, right? We have there's all different types. And I mean, I know Kiwi's told me before about the different types of rocks and how geologists enjoy naming them. And that's always interesting. So it's not as simple always as rock come from lava, right? Like that's
Not-
obviously one of
not
the
at all.
ways, but
Also, the best part
Absolutely.
about geology, a lot of people name rocks that they discover purely out of spite.
can you give us some examples, please?
Let me pull up this to make sure I am getting the name right.
Is there a rock?
So,
Sorry, go ahead.
no, carry on.
No, I was gonna say, is there like a rock called Dick?
Why would there be a dick rock, dude? There's probably a formation in the shape of that, but not like
Hey, are you the one licking rocks, Doc? No, Kiwi's the rock specialist.
the official rock liquor of the Dr. Man show. It's terrible.
You know, I wish I could. I'm going to have to post this in Discord later because I just cannot find the one that I'm looking for in particular.
Okay.
Yeah, if you do put it in the hashtag Campfires Discord. If y'all haven't joined that, you should. A lot of the topics we talk about go in there first. You guys will actually get spoiler cheat information on some of the stories if you join the hashtag Campfire Stories channel in our Discord. And Cuba can give updates if y'all want to start conversations. We answer y'all with questions and et cetera, et cetera. Demand's got a really cool story about Beetlejuice, the star fading yet again. Potential,
There's
potential, a lot of stuff
60%
going
down.
on.
Dude.
We can't go into
No,
it.
All I'm
All
saying, Doc, all I'm saying is there's not. I don't have a recollection of a star that goes up, goes down, goes up, goes down. There's got to be some sort of civilization drawing it. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, it's a potential. We do have memes in other channels as well. Metal Gear Agreed is correct. But we're gonna move forward, and I'm excited for this. Demand, what is we have a story settled up. I actually would mix them around, and I don't remember which one I sent you before we do that.
Let me message you in
The UFO.
GMs.
Yeah. Let me give you the call outs before we start this one for the YouTube channels. Okay. I think he's gonna have to help me with that.
Real quick, Doc. So at
Yeah.
the end of this segment, can we give a
Yeah.
shout out to all of our Patreon subscribers? For our
Let's
YouTube
do
video?
that. Let's do that right now.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to shout out before we go. Shout out to all of our Patreon supporters. Those of you who support the Doc Demand Show for as little as what is the first tier, Demand? Like, I think it's like $1 or so. Like, we got a cheap tier.
$1, brother.
We're gonna start shouting out all of y'all more. The more you give, the more benefits you get here on the Dr. Man Show. You get early access to things that we are producing, content just for you. But I want to shout out each and every supporter that we have on the Dr. Man Show Patreon. Thank you so much for supporting us. You make all of this happen. The more money we get, the more things we could do, the better equipment we could buy, et cetera, et cetera. You know the deal. Shout out to each and every single one of y'all for that. Thank you so much for the support. All of our Twitch subscribers, people that watch us live on Twitch, all of our subscribers on YouTube and other platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, etc. Coming soon, without a shadow of a doubt. Thank you. We are the Dr. Man Show. We are the Dr. Man Show. My name is Doc X, the voice Demand, Chef Demand. Also here and guest starring Kiwi. We're going to talk about a little of weirdness in New Zealand. Kiwi's from New Zealand. So we have she can help me pronounce a lot of these words and stuff that's going on that we're going to be talking about. I got 3 stories. Lady and gentlemen, say what's up, Kiwi, before we get started. There she is, live. I'm just saying, there's some weirdness in New Zealand, Kiwi.
New Zealand is it's a wild place, Doc.
It looks wild. My wife desperately wants to go there. Maybe we can plan a trip. You can go back home and we can visit and hopefully find some freakish stuff for Campfire Stories that will happen while we're there. That would be amazing. Obviously, hopefully we survive. I mean, is there offhand, Kiwi? I mean, we have you here. Have you seen anything in the skies? Has there been anything strange or paranormal in your experiences while you were there, specifically in New Zealand?
Actually, yes.
Yes, you say. Okay, so
yes.
Okay, that's unique to the area and the place of New Zealand.
Now, I don't know if what I've seen is particularly unique to the place of New Zealand, but there are a lot of things that you see there that you just kind of go, you know what? That happened. I'm just going to carry on with my day now.
Right, right. I would love to hear, even just quick. We could touch on it. Any specific story of the paranormal you've experienced while you were in New Zealand, and if you'll give us a background, because I know we've talked. I mean, you're obviously part of the Dr. Man Show. For those who don't know, that's Kiwi. She's been in tons of our videos and our gaming channel and all the other stuff that we do. She's one of our best friends. But I mean, your background, like when were you born? Where were you born? In New Zealand, like et cetera, et cetera. If you want to give us a quick overview of that, that'd be awesome. And then you could just launch right into the weirdness.
Yeah. So, born and raised in New Zealand, born early 90s, um, in actually in the largest city we have there, Auckland.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. No, born in Auckland. Never lived there though.
Crikey.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate it. Okay. No, ended up moving a lot because parents did seasonal work, so saw pretty much the entire country from top to bottom, including Stewart Island, which is often forgotten about, right far south.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you just been so did you just move all over, like
Yeah.
in New Zealand,
Yep.
or just all over the place?
Yeah, twice a year we move to a different place, just following the work.
Oh, that's just fantastic. And of all of New Zealand, I gotta ask you this question: of all of New Zealand, what is the most beautiful place you ever lived that you would still long to return to? Potentially, or it's at least it just sticks with you, because I feel like me personally, I don't have this experience, but I talk to a lot of people that have not lived in the same place, and they'll say, well, if I could live again, and when it comes to America, North Carolina or Georgia or this place or that place. Can you give us a brief description of the most beautiful, wonderful, amazing place you ever lived, you would like to go back to, and why? By
Okay,
any
there is a very, very specific place that is my hands down favorite place in New Zealand.
Okay. All right, I'm listening. I'm about to everybody get your Googles ready.
It's in my hand right now.
Let's hear it.
So, this is a tiny town, and I mean, maybe a couple of hundred people live there year round.
I love it.
And
What's
it's
it called?
called Hamner. So Hanmer. And what I love about this place is it's at the top of the mountains, and it actually has naturally heated mineral hot pools just all around up there. So
The
you can
hell?
sit. You
You
can go
lived
to
here?
the top of the yep. You go out in the middle of winter when it's snowing, and you go to these hot pools, and you just sit there all day in the snow, just nice and toasty and warm. It's just you cannot beat it.
What the hell is this, dude? Are y'all looking at this right now? There's like a water slide on most of these pictures. Hanmer, Hanmer, Hanmer.
H-A.
Hanmer. Yeah, if you country like me, she lived in Hanmer. Hanmer. That's how you say it in Tennessee. Hanmer, New Zealand is where she lived.
You're German.
Hanmer.
Hanmer.
Yeah,
Hamna.
she lived in Zahamna. So there's hot springs here?
Naturally heated hot springs.
Look at this, dude. There's a couple. They're the widest couple ever enjoying the hot springs. This place is sick. What are the mountain ranges in the background? That's insane.
So those are the Southern Alps.
The Southern Alps. This place, honestly, and I'm gonna say this, QE. Have you ever been to the Smokies
Not yet.
in North Carolina? Well, you will. We're gonna hang out. We're gonna hang out. I ain't gonna say nothing more to chat.
I love
But
Gatlinburg, by the way.
when you come to Tennessee, it's nothing like this, but I will say I feel as if you might be reminiscent Yeah, let me go ahead and
It feels
post.
close.
You feel me, Demand? Let me post a couple of.
Yeah.
Let me post
'Cause
this in. This is awful.
so
Sorry about
after
that.
after I
Long link.
leave from your place, Doc, that's where I'm heading. Is Gatlinburg Pigeon Forge.
Yeah.
Fun fact.
Well, yeah. I'll take you to Dollywood, Kiwi. Just you don't even worry about it, girl.
Dear
I
God, that
got
link.
you. It's gonna change your. Sorry for the link. These are awful. I apologize. But wow, this place looks. You know what? I think this is a perfect backdrop for our first story, Demand. It's perfect backdrop.
Oh yeah.
You're
Okay.
looking at
Give me 1
at
second. Then.
Homner. This place looks as if it was like etched out of someone's imagination and that it doesn't exist.
Hold on, I have
Like,
to
look
convert.
at the fields, the forests, the jutting trees, and then suddenly there's like mountains. It's almost as if you could come out of your backyard and start walking straight up a mountain, like a mountain range. This
You
place is
literally can.
this place is amazing. It is absolutely gorgeous, which I don't know. Obviously, the town we're about to talk about is a coastal town. I'm sure that one is not. But Kiwi has already corrected my yeah. If y'all are looking at that, like, look at that, dude. That is just nuts. Look at that place. It's etched out of from the gods. That's just crazy. I bet the hiking there is crazy.
Oh,
I bet it
yes.
goes so hard. I don't do any hiking.
There's something ironic
Me and
about you asking about hiking.
I'm just saying. Dolly is a national treasure. She would be proud of this. If she was a New Zealander, this would be her. This would be her jam, right? Now, fun fact: the Appalachian Mountains are actually one of the oldest mountain ranges on the planet, which we get roasted. People in the Rockies are like, "Those ain't even mountains; those are just hills." It's like I don't know why they sound like they're from England, but that's what they sound like. And it's because they're so old, actually. So they're like smaller because they're more ancient. By some calculations, the Appalachian Mountains, the foothills where I live in Tennessee, are actually older than trees. So, yeah, suck it, Rockies. But these look very, very reminiscent to me of potentially the North Carolina mountains, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know how old this mountain range is, but no doubt there's a
Show
lot
me them
of
bitties.
crazy. Oh, what have we done here? Somebody's cheering biddies.
Big ol'.
Hold on one second.
So apparently, the Twitch has integrated our sound alerts into the bigger emotes and all that. So that is what I
Ladies
heard.
and gentlemen, we are learning like you're learning about our own channel. Thank you so
Show
much for
me
them
them
biddies,
biddies.
Big Jugs McGee. Was that face is silly? Giving them biddies, baby. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you. Much love to the cast and crew here on Twitch.
But there is a place in New Zealand. I believe Kiwi, correct me. It's amazing. It's beautiful. I've heard. Kiwi can give a potential review of this place. Kaikoura.
Yep.
Is that wrong?
No, Kaikoura. It's only an hour and a half away from Hamner.
No way.
Wow.
It's an hour and a half away from what we're looking at right now. No way. Kaikoura.
Yep,
And-
and beautiful place. So those mountain ranges that you see in the background there,
Yes.
they pretty much. So if you're standing on the beach, right?
Yes.
Those mountains are like right behind you.
So those mountain ranges extend all the way, basically right to the beach, and then just disappear into the ocean.
Yes.
That's the most gorgeous thing I've ever heard in my entire life. That is amazing. And our first story here on Campfire Stories actually comes from that area. And the story is known, if you would like to look it up and do your own research, the Kaikoura UFO sightings. Has anyone ever heard of that? Oh, you probably haven't, because it happened the year that I was born. Back in December of 1978, actually, even my birth year. The Kaikoura UFO sightings took place in the skies above this area in New Zealand, becoming one of the most documented and debated UFO sightings due to the involvement of multiple witnesses, radar tracking, and photographic evidence that you should be seeing here. One second. So, yeah. Oh, man. Hold on. Can you send that to demand, Kiwi?
I did.
So
It's already
above this
uploaded.
area.
I'm just waiting for a time.
No, this is good. So let me give you the let me go ahead and give you the skivvy here. The sightings, as you're looking at here, these are recordings, and I can link the information for those. These are the recordings. The sightings were not just visual, but they were tracked on radar by both the aircraft and ground-based air traffic control, filmed by a new television crew and witnessed by multiple credible sources, including pilots, journalists, and air traffic controllers. This multifaceted evidence adds many layers to the complexity of the event. You're watching live, of course, what people consider unexplained UFO or UAP contact above New Zealand in Kaikoura. Now, I'm not even exactly sure if that is a hotbed or if that's just what happened back then in that area. I don't know if Kiwi knows any more about that area than I do specifically. Have you ever been to Kaikoura, Kiwi?
Yes, I have, and that is actually where the weirdness that I saw happened as well.
You're
Interesting.
kidding me,
You're
because we
talking-
didn't talk about it. No way.
Hold on. So
No
you're talking
way.
about this place right here is where all the weirdness happens. This beautiful
Yes.
place.
Yes.
Why is New Zealand like the most beautiful place on the planet? Look at that. And those actually look like surfing waves. Looks like you
Oh, they are.
actually. Why? You can't even find those half the time. Like hardly anyone surfs in California because the waves are like dog shit by most people's. But it's what I've heard. Don't get mad at me. Don't at me in the comments. But look how gorgeous this place is. And so, all right, well, what happened to you at Kaikoura, please?
Okay, so I was 16. I was heading from where I live down south, heading up north because I had job opportunities up there. So I was, making the big move. Stopped in Kaikoura for the night and went for a walk on the beach because why wouldn't you at that point? You can go and sit with the seals.
Oh my god!
So I'm just sitting there on the beach with my fish and chips because that's what you do in New Zealand. With the seals, just looking at the water, wondering if I was making the right choice in my life because huge move. And over above the water, so when you look out from Kaikoura, you've got the mountains behind you, but when you look out at the ocean, it's just ocean. There is
Yes.
nothing else in the way. It's just straight into the black abyss at night. And I'm sitting there, with the seals, just enjoying my fish and chips, and I see these lights. And at first I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I didn't realize, that's late for the fishing boats to be coming in. That makes no sense, but okay. Until the light raised up above where the horizon would be.
So
And
they ascended into the sky.
they did. It wasn't like super high up into the sky, but it was I'm assuming it was far enough away that you'd kind of put it in line with the top of the mountain ranges if you were looking at them, way out in the ocean.
Yeah.
And it sits there for a minute, and I'm just watching this like, okay, this makes no sense. I must be tired. Okay, cool, fair enough.
Right.
And then really, 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 really quickly, it just drops and disappears.
Just into the ocean.
Just into the ocean, just gone.
Demand, how many like different UFO sightings have we researched and studied where the whatever it is goes into the ocean?
5.
There's so exactly approximately 5. I mean, there's a lot of stories about people who you asshole. There's a lot of stories of people who actually talk about like the UFOs like just descending and like disappearing into the water and the ocean. It honestly makes you wonder like what could potentially be in the ocean, in these ancient oceans
Show me
that
them
exist.
bitties.
It's something different. What is happening? Shout out, silly. What does Twitch
So-
3 mean?
My
Twitch
question.
is adding to the bets.
Oh, so Twitch is like my 401k. They add up to 5%. So
It just appeared. It's my face is massive.
I don't. The silly threw me off. I'll be honest with you. I was gonna make a flat Earth joke. Shout out Mortadil, and it escaped from me.
Let me rescue you. So let me explain to you what the Kaikoura lights were according to most and you can sort of tie them into what Kiwi saw. The Kaikoura lights is the name given by the New Zealand media to a series of UFO sightings that occurred in December 1978 over the skies above the Kaikoura mountain ranges, which you just saw, in the northeast of New Zealand's South Island. The first sightings were made on the 21st of December, near Christmas, for those of us who are Westerners, when the crew of the Safe Air cargo aircraft began observing a series of strange lights around their Armstrong Whitworth AW660 Argosy aircraft, which was tracked along their travel route for several minutes before disappearing and then reappearing elsewhere. Now, this is by radar, so this is an actual fact. The UFO evidently was very large and had 5 white flashing lights that were visible on the craft. Some people say that they could see some little discs drop from the UFO and disappear. The pilots described some of the lights to be the size of houses, and others to be small, flashing brilliantly. These objects appeared on the air traffic controller radar in Wellington and also on the aircraft's on-board radar. On December the 30th, 1978, a television crew from Australia recorded a background film for a network show of interviews about the sightings. For many minutes at a time, on the flight to Christchurch, unidentified lights were observed by 5 people on the flight deck. They were tracked again by the Wellington air traffic controllers and filmed in color by a television crew. I believe that's what you're seeing here, if I'm not mistaken. If I am, correct me in the comments. One object reportedly followed the aircraft almost until the aircraft landed. The cargo plane then took off again with the television crew still on board, heading for Blenheim. When the aircraft reached about 2,000 feet, it encountered what appeared to be a large lighted orb, which fell into station off the wingtip and trekked along the cargo aircraft for almost an hour while being filmed, watched, and tracked on aircraft radar demand and described on tape recording by the TV film crew, which you should be watching here.
Mm-hmm. So,
And so,
go ahead.
evidently, like, Kai Coral, like, is a hotbed for UFO, sky, and oceanic activity.
I actually
According
believe
to base.
both of the people that said about they saw it was small, and then some people say they were big as houses. I actually believe that both their perspectives was correct, right? Because you know how big traffic lights are? They're the size of small humans. But if you look at them while you're in your car, they don't seem that big. So I actually believe that they're telling the truth. I believe they what they saw was what they saw. Like perspective is just, it's insane. Because if it's very far away, but you still think it's the size of a house, imagine how big it actually is closer up.
Right. Like,
thing must have
pretty
been massive.
freaking massive. It must have been huge. I don't know. Kiwi, how do you feel about these lights based on what you saw as well? Were there logical explanations? Obviously, normal people immediately generally don't go to aliens or whatever the UFOs or whatever the case may be. The most of us try to rationalize it. I've seen some things. Demand has seen some things. Even people, I'm sure, by the sound of my voice, you have seen things and thought, okay, what's the logical explanation for what I'm witnessing? And I think that that's mostly what we do. What was your experience like when you saw what you saw, Kiwi? Were you an exception? Were you like, nah, this isn't real, this is aliens, or whatever the case may have been?
So it's kind of funny because when I saw, that happen, I had been up for, I think, 36 hours at that point. I was really tired. I kind of wrote it off in the moment of like, well, that was a thing. I need sleep.
Yeah.
And
right.
it wasn't until like a couple of days later where I was like, hang on a minute. That was weird.
Mm-hmm. That you were like, okay, this isn't as easily explained as I thought.
Yeah.
And were you by yourself? Because I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, the time that I saw what I saw, which I won't go into in this particular podcast, I was alone, and the first thing that I shouted, basically at the top of my lungs, is no. Like, no, no, no. I can't be seeing this now when I'm alone, and no one will believe me. Like, that's honestly what I was yelling at the top of my lungs in my car. I did. I was like, this can't be happening. No one will believe. No one will believe this. Like,
Yep.
as I was witness to something. Were you by yourself?
Yep.
Wow.
That's the problem with it is you kind of sit there and it's like, well, who am I going to tell this to? Because nobody else saw it.
Isn't that a problem, though? Like, isn't that a problem? Everyone is so skeptical, and it's obviously for good reason. There's a lot of hoaxes, there's a lot of nonsense, and there's a lot of crazies out there. Like, obviously. But isn't that a problem? Because here's the funny part, right? Everyone's listening to the Dr. Man show right now considers themselves a rational person, right? None of us are the crazies. The crazies are everyone else, right? Okay, except for Demand. Demand admits the rock sandwich eating craziness. The rest of us are just like, listen, I'm a normal person. I would consider myself a normal person. You know what? I work a job, I pay my taxes, et cetera, et cetera. But then you see something wild, and now you can't talk about it, because if you do, you get on the internet. Even if you have proof, even if you have video, people will be like, yeah, that's drones, that's nonsense, you're a weirdo, you're a grifter, you're trying to make money. Like, you honestly can't even talk about your experiences without such a critical. And I wonder aloud to myself if that's not somewhat by design, that there are crazies out there. There are weirdos and strange people out there. There are just flat out pathological liars. But it discredits those of us who have actually seen things, who don't suffer from some sort of severe mental illness, and those sightings, those things we may or may not have seen that may have logical explanations, we don't know, but it discourages us from talking about them. And worse, it detracts from the truth that, oh, well, you're just crazy, or you didn't see what you thought you saw, right? And I can do that to Kiwi right now. I'd be like, well, what you saw was, I don't know, a plane out in the sky, and this and that. And it's just like, well, she would argue back, but it's like she doesn't have any proof, so she gets lumped in with nut bags. And it's kind of frustrating to me.
Kinda. I actually have the opposite problem, Doc. The one of the UFO sightings that I originally saw, it was me, Chef Dylan, Chef Andy, and Chris, right?
Okay,
And,
yeah.
We all of us foresaw it, but the unfortunate part is we were all tripping on mushrooms. So
Thank you for demonstrating my point, man. In the
but as people know, if you're on mushrooms, you all have different trips, different vibes, different visions, things like that.
It's not all the same, right?
Confirmed that what we saw was unexplainable, and we all saw it. So
fair enough. Fair enough. This is never going to be solved. I can honestly feel it right now. After the sightings in New Zealand, the Royal New Zealand Air Force, the police, and Huey Carter Observatory in Wellington cooperated in an investigation, the result of which were logged in the National Archives in Wellington. You can go look it up, New Zealanders. The New Zealand Ministry of Defense attributed the sightings from saying that they were from squid boats and then reflected off the clouds, or unburnt meteors, or the planet Venus, reflected off trains or cars.
What?
I wish this wasn't true. That's
Venus
the official
makes the
story.
symbol? Since when was Venus squiggly? What?
Declassified documents from the CIA, however, taken after the dispatch of Lockheed P-3 Orion to the area of the sightings, stated that the sightings were unique among civilian UFO reports because there is a large amount of documentary evidence, which includes the recollections of 7 witnesses, 2 taped recordings, one of which you're watching now, made during the sightings, the detection of some unusual and airplane radar targets, and of course, again, a 16mm color movie, which you're privy to now. In 2010, the New Zealand military released a classified report on the incident under the Official Information Act, which concluded the exact same results. Basically, the CIA was like, yeah, we can't discount all of these people that said they saw things. We can't discount the strange recordings made by the radar and all of our technology. We can't discount any of the movies or the video of this incident. But, that's all we're going to say about it. It's Venus reflected off. Venus and unburnt meteors were reflected off of squid boats and trains and cars. That's what you're looking at. I mean, believe what you want to believe. The Dr. Mancho's not here to tell you what to believe. If anything, we're here to explore what may or may not be. There you have it. Seek the truth. The truth is out there. That's all I have to say about this particular story.